Okay, so good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You are very welcome to our Bridging the Gap event. This is the first in a series of engagements in
Yeah, I've got a
2026,
webinar thing just now. Is that okay?
aimed at raising awareness
Yeah.
of the relative strengths in each other's medtech ecosystems and promoting collaboration and cross-fertilization between them. My name is Keith Marin. I work within the Scottish Government Office in Dublin for our national trade and investment agency, Scottish Enterprise, assisting Scottish and Irish medtech and healthcare organisations to explore each other's markets. This series of engagements sits atop the recently refreshed bilateral agreement between Scotland and Ireland, part of which aims to nurture and grow the relationships between our nations in an area such as medical innovation. Today's event is going to be very introductory in nature. We're very proud to be co-hosting alongside the Medical Device Manufacturing Centre, or MDMC, who will deliver our keynote address. MDMC acts as one of Scotland's national medical device innovation hubs and are therefore best placed to offer a bird's eye view of the sector in Scotland. The keynote will be followed by 3-minute lightning pitches from Irish and Scottish stakeholders. The running order is going to be placed in the chat box, and I will prompt each of you before your presentation begins. I'm afraid the 3-minute limit for each presentation will be implemented ruthlessly. I will announce once your 3 minutes has ended, and grateful if you might wrap up quickly thereafter. On the Scottish side, Bryce has all of your slides. I have some of the Irish ones. For anyone who hasn't submitted, you're very welcome to use slides if you require it by sharing your screen during your presentation or uploading into the chat box and letting me share on your behalf. Equally, you can present without slides if you think it more appropriate. The session may seem quite high level. It may seem chaotic at times, but all going well will lead to a better understanding of the key actors in each other's medtech ecosystems. The real work begins once the event is complete, when I reach back out to each of you, presenters and audience alike, to share further information on each participant and to receive your thoughts and feedback on what might be most useful going forward. The second iteration of the webinar will take place post-summer, in which we will dive a little deeper into the requirements of our sector and explore ways in which Scottish and Irish stakeholders might approach each other's markets using a demand-driven innovation model. Finally, we won't be conducting a Q&A at the end of this session, but I do urge all of you to post questions in the chat box or to send to me by email directly. We will forward those to the relevant parties later this afternoon. So without further ado, I am very happy to introduce you to Bryce Freer from the MDMC. Bryce.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. So thank you, obviously, for joining today's webinar. It's fantastic to see you all here. I'll be honest, it's a genuine pleasure to share this space alongside so many talented innovators and leaders across the Scottish and Irish medtech community. As Keith has mentioned, my name is Bryce Freer. I'm the Business Development Executive for the Medical Device Manufacturing Centre, a consortium of 5 leading Scottish universities who have collated our respective expertise and resources to support medical device manufacturing companies so far in Scotland. But how do we do that? We've broken down what we can do and have been doing into 4 core themes, as you can see here, with the first being access to enhanced manufacturing facilities. 64 manufacturing processes in total, including but not limited to injection molding, 3D printing, CNC milling and welding, a slew of testing facilities, including drop testing, freight testing, accelerated age testing, and so on, as well as access to what's called the teal cadaveric resource. But what I think is the true value that we provide here at the MDMC is via the engineering expertise, led by our technology specialists, all of which are educated to PhD level as standard. They lead the charge on the delivery of the functional medical device prototypes that we produce here in-house at the MDMC. They also lead the charge on sustainability for medical devices, giving a lot of practical guidance and advice on manufacturing processes, materials selection, carbon footprint reduction, and so on, which is all in line with NHS net zero goals already. And finally, as you can see, we have our regulatory advice as well, which is 3 free days of medical device regulatory support provided by external partners on a case-by-case basis. So Scotland is home to one of Europe's most concentrated and connected medtech ecosystems, with over 250 companies and sustaining 8% annual growth over the past decade. Growth here really is supported by major national assets across the country, such as the NHS Regional Innovation Hubs, providing clinical access and co-development pathways, Scottish Enterprise, of course, the economic development arm of the Scottish Government, the Digital Health Validation Lab, DHVL, the Data Safe Haven Network, Bio City Glasgow, InnoScot Health, SILSA, and of course the organisations represented within this webinar are themselves central nodes of this network as well. But the ecosystem itself truly is underpinned by the Scottish Life Sciences strategy, aiming to grow the life sciences sector to £25 billion by 2035. The strategy in 2017 actually was focused on reaching the sector to £8 billion, which was achieved 4 years early. So definitely watch this space. At the centre of this landscape, however, is the Medical Device Manufacturing Centre, the Pan-Scotland consortium of 5 universities, as you can see from this slide. So our HQ, Heriot-Watt, we also have Edinburgh, Glasgow, Dundee and Robert Gordon University, all bringing in distinct and complementary expertise through which universities, research institutions, investment firms, scale-ups, SMEs, university spin-outs alike can access our support and the full Scottish ecosystem through a single coordinated partnership. So you should potentially think of the MDMC as the strategic entry point into the Scottish medtech sector and beyond. For the basics of MDMC funding, in 2023, we provided £3.35 million by Scottish Enterprise, with match funding in cash and in kind by our university members, £5.7 million. This constituted what we call phase 2. Our current phase. So this funding round is coming to an end in September of this year. And with the end of the funding round comes the end of our eligibility criteria. So historically, we've only been able to support medical device manufacturing companies based legally in Scotland. In phase 3, however, post-September of this year, we seek to support and collaborate with new partners beyond the Scottish borders as a co-development firm, not to compete in any market, but to add value to the already exceptional ecosystems that exist beyond Scotland, for example, of course, in Ireland and beyond, to support further medtech innovation, to de-risk devices, support clinical validation, support functional medical device prototyping, of course, and support Scottish-wide market access. Practically, however, the MDMC provides end-to-end functional medical device prototyping and development at all TRL levels, technology readiness levels. Our capabilities include, but are not limited to, laser-based manufacturing, additive subtractive manufacturing, volume forming equipment, characterization and analytical equipment, sterilization and environmental testing, micromachining, and much, much more. The full extent of what we do provide here at the MDMC can be found on our website, mdmc.ac.uk. If you haven't seen it already, please do feel free to check it out. More specifically, however, in MDMC Glasgow, we have our precision materials test facilities, which again is including but not limited to electrical impedance spectrometry, static dynamic mechanical testing, 3D surface profiling, 3D microsystem vibrometry, and microcomputed tomography. In MDMC Dundee, we have preclinical testing, like I mentioned earlier, the large teal cadaveric resource. So we make these cadavers available to our clients at the MDMC, and we make these cadavers pulsatile. We simulate blood flow through these cadavers for preclinical testing purposes. So of course, the application of this is quite broad and quite vast. So anything from, say, dental tools, surgical tools, robotic surgical equipment, and so on can all be tested here at the MDMC to the preclinical level. We also provide a lot of clinical data via the Data Safe Havens network and our partners DataLock and the Robertson Centre. And all of this is made possible via our co-location and collaboration with NHS Tayside, 9 Wells Hospital. Statistical expertise is also available via the MDMC. So the example here could be that if a company engages with a teal cadaver resource, they gain a vast amount of raw data, and we need to make sure they gain the most out of that raw data. So that's where this comes in, with a lot of training for individuals and full teams, a lot of regulatory guidance here as well, statistical report writing, and a lot of high-level analysis as well, with the application typically of regulatory applications, technical documentations, and sometimes even funding as well. So we at the MDMC take the knowledge transfer element very seriously. We have a vast array of different webinars, all live recorded and free, available on our website. So everything from the basics of what is a medical device all the way through to the more complex validation of medical devices, funding, and clinical trials as well. We do also provide 2-day CPD programs coordinated by one of our technology specialists, actually, Dr. Carolina Takela. They have all been absolutely incredible so far. The last one was at the end of last year, focusing on technical documentations for regulatory applications and so on. We had InnoScot Health, one of our partners in there, a market leader in Scotland, who provided a really clear and in-depth talk on how best to manage regulations from the earliest stages of development. And like I said, we have our medical device advisory service, regulatory advisory service. So it's 3 free days provided by external partners such as InnoScot Health. We had 78 companies so far engage in this directly and see the benefit. We focus on UK, EU and FDA regulations as well within this support. So quite a vast array of different options there. And of course, we do have an NHS Innovation Project Manager currently embedded within the MDMC team, who acts as the bridge between MDMC clients on the commercial side and the NHS on the clinical. So essentially, they assess and analyse the functional devices being developed at the MDMC to understand if they solve problems, if they save money, and if they improve processes for the NHS, as well as evaluating their public benefit and of facilitating a smoother integration towards the NHS more generally for potential testing opportunities. But I think one of the more structurally important things that the MDMC does is actually de-risk the development journey by negating the values of death that exist as devices move through the life cycle towards market entry. So as we know, all medical devices face inflection points where development stalls naturally. For example, from concept to prototype, from prototype to validation, and so on. So companies in these stages, these transitionary periods, are more vulnerable with potential gaps within their knowledge and capability. So the MDMC is specifically structured to bridge those gaps. We support validation and de-risking of devices to investment, scale-up, and market readiness levels through our extensive advanced manufacturing facilities from a technological perspective, and equally our vast experience, knowledge, and connection from the organizational perspective as well. So through partnership with the MDMC, organizations can gain signposted access to 65% of the Scottish medtech market, in line with our current market saturation here in Scotland. Additional clinical infrastructure, research collaboration opportunities, institutional partnerships, joint grant applications, and connection to the wider Scottish medtech ecosystem and market, like I mentioned. For new partners, however, I'm delighted to bring the rare opportunity to access the entire national ecosystem through one strategic partnership. If we at the MDMC are not able to provide specific support, we are more than capable of connecting you to the right partner here in Scotland. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bryce. That was fantastic. We're going to move now into the 3-minute presentations. Just a reminder, I will let you know when your 3 minutes is over and if you might wrap up as soon as possible thereafter. We're going to start with Pratik from the Medical Device Prototype Hub, and then we'll go on to Fergus from Fire1. So Pratik, I have your slides, and Fergus, if you'd like to start getting ready. Pratik, are you ready?
Yeah, I am. Thanks, Keith, for organizing this. I hope you can hear me okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
Let me know if you can see the screen now.
I can, yeah. Hello, everyone. So my name is Pratik, and I am the Senior Technical Officer here at the Medical Device Prototype Hub. So we've established this here in the University of Galway. That's where we are currently based. Next slide, please. So we have, it's established in what we call an innovation for health ecosystem. So it's there's 2 institutes in the University of Galway, the Institute for Health Discovery for Innovation and the Institute for Clinical Trials. And what's happening in these institutes is the health discovery and innovation is focusing on the fundamental research, prototype discovery and design, and some preclinical development. And then from there, the Clinical Trials Institute takes over. It collaborates, and the early clinical trials are happening, late clinical trials, and then it's passing on to HSE and all the other healthcare related applications. With the Prototype Hub, we have internal collaborations with the BioInnovate Fellowship Program, the ARC Hub for Health Tech, QRUM, which is the SFI Research Center for Medical Devices, and NCLA, which is the National Center for Laser Applications, which is based in the Department of Physics here. Next slide, please. So the Medical Device Prototype Hub sits in the Technical Services Directorate, which is a core facility here in the University of Galway. And like the Prototype Hub, there's a few other core facilities which we provide internally and externally as well. So we have flow cytometry, light microscopy, genomics and screening, and mass spec as well. So the mission statement for the TSD is that we're providing research excellence to University of Galway by implementing coordinated state-of-the-art core facilities, and they will be supported by experienced and highly professional technical staff, and then having the operational excellence to handle a lot of projects and have investments and infrastructure to grow this further on. Next slide, please. So with regards to the current capabilities, the Medical Device Prototype Hub was established last year, and I'm establishing and leading the hub as we speak. So we have the following technical capabilities, pretty much two types of 3D printing at the minute. So we have the resin 3D printing and the FDM. So after that, we have the non-destructive 3D X-ray imaging, which is the nano CT and the micro CT machines. And we, can you keep going further, please, Keith? Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So we have the CAD softwares and the image-based FEA softwares as well. The services we offer is consulting and design support, 3D printing, prototyping, post-processing, knowledge transfer and training, and that's more to do with the IDFs and a bit of regulatory support as well. Next slide, please.
So that's 3 minutes, Pratik. So if we might wrap up.
Yeah. So we have a new SFI research grant coming in, and then I'll just go quickly through. We will be getting the anatomical 3D printer, SLS systems, mechanical testing, more prototyping equipment on the mechanical side, and some testing equipment, which would be ultrasound systems, endovascular pumps, pulsatile pumps, vascular benchtop, and pneumatic microfluidic kits as well. Thanks so much.
Fabulous. Thanks, Pratik. Fergus, are you ready to go into yours?
Yeah, thanks, Keith, and thanks for the opportunity to talk to the group today. I thought I'd give everyone a break from slides for a moment. So my name is Fergus O'Dea. I'm Vice President of Commercial Operations at a company called Fire1. We are developing a system for heart failure management for doctors and patients. So our real innovation is sort of twofold. One is we're developing an entirely new way of measuring heart failure based on the capacitance of the venous system as a window into the volume status of these patients, which is sort of critical for chronic management of heart failure. And the second area that we're innovating on is that we are sharing that data not just with the care team, who are overburdened as it is, but with the patients themselves, so that the patient can make better decisions day to day about their lifestyle and about their medication, so that they can keep themselves healthier. So the silly sort of mental shortcut we use is that we're developing the Dexcom for heart failure. So empowering heart failure patients with the best data to live their lives healthier day to day. We do it by putting a small sensor into the inferior vena cava, the largest vein in the body. So it's a class 3 medical device. The patient wears a belt for about a minute a day to take a reading, and the data goes to the care team, but also to the patient on their phone. We have run clinical trials in 6 countries to date, including the UK. So we work with the Golden Jubilee Hospital in Glasgow as one of our clinical centres. We're about 100 people, 75% based in HQ in Dublin, around manufacturing, quality, R&D, and corporate functions, and about 25% people in the US. We funded this through some of the biggest medical device investors in the world. We've raised over $220 million to date. Most recently, about 12, 15 months ago, we closed a $120 million round to complete our pivotal study, which will primarily be in the US, and that will bring us through to FDA approval and CE marking. That's an 800 patient RCT starting in the next couple of weeks. Personally, my role in Fire1 encompasses fundraising, market access and reimbursement, marketing, commercialization strategy, So I would be delighted to collaborate with this group on any of those topics. Unfortunately, today I have to leave shortly for a external meeting, so I won't be able to stay on the call for too much longer, but I will put my email address in the chat, and I would be delighted to follow up on an individual basis, and certainly look forward to taking part in these collective discussions again in the near future. So thanks again, Keith, for the opportunity to speak today.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Fergus. Appreciate it. We're now going to hand over to Dan from Novosound, and I believe Bryce has the slides.
Is it all right if I take control of the presentation so I can click through my animations? I was very short-sighted.
Go ahead if you can.
Put animations in. There we go. That should work. If not, you might need to click through for me. Nah, you might have to click through for me. Oh, no, there we go. Right, so apologies for technical issues. So yeah, I'm Dan from Novosound. Very quick summary of what we do. So at Novosound, we're an ultrasound sensors and system business. But this is all underpinned by the fact that we have our own proprietary thin film technology. So at the core of what we do ultrasound differently. Next click, please. And basically, our goal is to essentially measure what matters. So we're targeting the health and ultimately the wearable space, but we want to actually measure rather than infer and estimate, which is what we feel most wearables currently do. And therefore, the goal is really to kind of revolutionize what health and wellness can be through technology and try and take wearables from a superficial technology to something that provides real deep insights about the body and deep intelligence about your health and wellness. And where we're starting with this is with blood pressure monitoring and a product we're developing called Sense BP. Next slide, please. There we go. So, Sense BP, I'll start a little bit with why we're looking at blood pressure monitoring first. So we believe blood pressure monitoring and improvements in blood pressure monitoring is critical. So a third of adults over the age of 30 are reckoned to be hypertensive, but nearly half of them don't know they're hypertensive, which suggests there's something wrong with the way we currently measure and monitor blood pressure. So the goal with Sense BP is to use an ultrasound-based device to provide accurate measurements, so within clinical grade accuracy for blood pressure monitoring, without the existing limitations. So without the uncomfortable and inaccurate placement of cuffs, without the regular calibration and issues with things like skin tone of optical techniques, and without it needing to be invasive, like the gold standard arterial lines. So we're developing this product already with support from not only SE, but also MDMC. And I would like to thank them for their support so far and hopefully continued support, with the goal to launch this mid to late next year. Next clip, please. We really see this, though, as a strategic predicate. So you might be looking at that and going, that's not a wearable. We are aware. The goal is to launch this first, get FDA and MHRA approval for an ultrasound blood pressure monitor and use that as a precursor and predicate to wearable products for everything from critical care and patient monitoring through to consumer wearables and even sport and wellness. But we really think that blood pressure monitoring is only the beginning. By using ultrasound in a more widespread manner, we can really get deep insights of the body and measure everything from hydration to muscle fatigue and beyond. And I'd be happy if anyone wants to know more, if they just reach out and get my contact details through either Bryce or Keith.
Perfect. Right on 3 minutes. Thank you, Dan. Next up, we have Bradley from Caraco. Are you there, Bradley?
Can't seem to hear you, unfortunately, Bradley. Okay.
That's we might move on and come back to Bradley then, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Could we go with Steve from Adaptix?
Yep.
Okay, I'm Steve. I'm CTO of Adaptix, where we make mobile 3D X-ray systems. So the world's most common type of medical imaging is the traditional two-dimensional X-ray, but that gives a fundamentally limited view of a shadow puppet view of our 3D bodies, which makes diagnosis difficult where you've got overlapping bones. So in contrast, we fire a rapid sequence of X-rays from an array of positions as shown by these yellow cones, and then from that we can mathematically calculate what 3D shape made those shadows, and then show that as a stack of slices. So if you, that video on the right hand side should be a, yeah, there we are. So you get this stack of slices that you can scroll through up and down, showing a lot more bony structure, better definition of the joint surfaces and the joint spaces. So much more useful diagnostically. On the next slide, we've got regulatory clearance in the USA. So this is a video taken by one of the doctors there. So this guy fell off his e-scooter and had a sore wrist, and scrolling through the slices they were able to spot that he had an avulsion fracture. So this is where the joint gets bent too far and a ligament rips off a little bit of the bone. So they wouldn't have spotted this normally without our technology, and they would have had the later expense of an MRI or a CT scan, but with this they were able to give the guy the correct treatment sooner. We've got one installation in Exeter and hoping to install much more widely around the UK once we get our CE mark, which is expected imminently. So we also do feet, knees, elbows, everything, arms and legs. And next week we're up in Dundee to image some of the embalmed cadavers there, made available through the MDMC to explore some new imaging functions. Okay, that's it. 2 minutes, but we're all about speed, so happy to finish early.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Bradley, do you want to try talking just to see if we can hear you?
Can you hear me okay now?
Can hear you now, yeah, no problem.
Excellent, cool. Thank you for your patience, guys. So as you can see on the screen, this is my co-founder Margot and now fiance, and she has panic disorder, which is defined as repeated and unprompted panic attacks. Within minutes, a panic attack floods the body with terror, a racing heart, a tight chest, blurry vision, and hyperventilating, but crucially, it disables your brain and its decision-making ability. The coping mechanisms and grounded techniques are studied and effective, and Margot can execute these techniques perfectly under normal circumstances. But the problem is that acute stress disables the person's prefrontal cortex and their ability to execute these techniques. So, for example, if I am beside her, we can walk through a grounding session and nip the panic attack in the bud. But if she is alone on the train to work, for example, then that's another story. And across the UK and Ireland, there are around 1 million people in her situation, with less than half of those people getting any treatment at all for their panic disorder. So what's the solution? The solution is external execution. Serene is a premium handheld multi-sensory device that combines tactile textures, rhythmic vibration, scent, and taste cues, all guided by a companion app via Bluetooth. The user opens the app, begins a session, and the device walks them through a structured grounding exercise step by step. No recall required, no executive function needed, and it's personalized to them. Next slide, please. Our team covers each touch point on this journey. Margot's personal experience of panic disorder and sensory overwhelm is the founding insight behind Serene, and as CPO, she brings user understanding that research alone can't replicate, as she is the user. My name is Bradley Morrison, and I'm the CEO of Carco, leading operations, strategy, and business execution. Our clinical advisor, Dr. Candela Sanchez, is a psychotherapy lecturer at the University of Edinburgh and is also diagnosed with panic disorder. Head of software, Ian McLeod, has senior experience across big names like Skyscanner and Tesco Bank. And our fractional CTO, Dr. Tamer Koskin, is founder of MedDesign and a very familiar face to the MDMC folk here, with a design and regulatory experience in over 100 medical devices across the UK, EU, and US. Regarding our momentum, we've had our proof of concept reviewed and validated by 35 users and therapists, with 5 functional prototypes in development, with many thanks to the MDMC for this. Our next big preparation step is building the groundwork for our pilot study of Serene for panic disorder related work absence. And if anyone here today is particularly involved in tooling and batch manufacturing, I would love to speak to you after this. So please fire me an email with the address below. Thank you very much for your time and for listening, everyone.
Perfect. Thank you, Bradley. We'll move on now to Robin from Abergour.
Hi guys, hi. Robin Pryor, CEO of Abergour. We're based in Glasgow. We got into 3D technology back in 2016. It was a logical development because we actually, our original company scans documents. So we get into scanning artifacts and then starting reproducing them using 3D printing. When COVID hit, we very much worked with Medical Device Manufacturing Centre to develop the first European COVID-19 PCR test swab, which we developed and got CE certification, and we upscaled that over the period of the beginning of COVID. Actually won an innovation award, and that was the foundation of us building our 3D business, basically. So on the back of that, we work with also other organisations within the MDMC network of providing prototypes and bespoke work that they commission us to do for them, depending on what that is. We've got quite a range of different 3D printing systems. We're quite innovative in the way we go about things, and we use the latest technology and materials. Next slide, please. So right now, one of the big things that came out of that process is the fact that we got ourselves onto the national framework. It's called APAC, of all the universities and research institutions in the UK. So basically, we've got installations of our equipment up and down the whole of the UK based on that framework agreement. In fact, in the first year, we were voted the best supplier on that framework of providing 3D scanners and printers. And on the basis of that, we've now been working with quite a number of leading universities in the UK, building new products and working with them to commercialise those new products. So from our point of view, we can provide help, assistance, advice, as well as production capability, and we're looking forward to establishing collaboration with members of this group. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Robin. Next up, we have Chiara from NAMI Surgical.
Hi there, I'm an associate here at NAMI Surgical, and basically NAMI is developing the first miniaturized ultrasonic scalpel designed specifically for integration for robotic-assisted surgery platforms. So a bit of background, you've got your traditional open surgery that has sort of transformed more into laparoscopic keyhole surgery, and that's the image that's there on the screen. So this uses ultrasonic energy, and more recently this is transformed into robotic-assisted surgery systems. So however, at the moment there's no ultrasonic energy that exists on robotic platforms. So this is where NAMI Surgical comes in. Despite ultrasonic energy having a lot more benefits than other energies such as electrocautery, ultrasonic energy has less thermal damage onto the tissue and fewer complications. So ultimately better outcomes for the patients. So NAMI has now designed and developed this ultrasonic platform that has 4 patent families covering this miniaturization. So in the video, you can see that you've got your 36 centimeter traditional handheld laparoscopic instrument, and this has come down to about 45 millimeters. So this allows integration into that dexterous arm. So this can then reach anatomically difficult places in the body during surgery. So at the moment, we've got soft tissue applications. So this is vessel sealing and tissue dissection. So this is across gynecology, general surgery, urology. Next slide, please. So a bit of background about NAMI. So we're a spin out from the University of Glasgow from the Centre for Medical Industrial Ultrasonics. So through that, the co-founders of NAMI did a lot of market research and found this clinical gap where there was no ultrasonics on these robotic platforms. So in 2024, we had our seed round raising 2.5 million and a large Innovate UK grant from the Biomedical Catalyst. And this allowed us to expand our team and move our facilities just outside of Glasgow. So in these facilities, we can manufacture and specialized titanium and miniaturized ultrasonic components. And we also have state-of-the-art inspection and engraving equipment to satisfy the regulatory requirements. We also have a simulated OR space, which allows us to test all our devices on ex vivo tissue. And we've recently performed our first cadaver study, grouping with LARIF at the University of Edinburgh, and our first in vivo study as well. So this year, we're focusing a lot more on our commercial traction. So this is feasibility and development programs with strategic partners, and then also looking for strategic and manufacturing partnerships as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move on now to Scott from Scott Seal Medical Devices.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. So I'm Scott, the founder, designer, and engineer of Scott Seal Medical Devices. Imagine you were to leave this call. You're walking down the street and you see someone laying on the floor having an emergency. If they were having a heart attack, or you believed they were having a heart attack, you would grab a defibrillator, you would follow the steps that talks you through it, or you would call an ambulance, they would talk you through it. What if the problem was external hemorrhage? What if they were bleeding heavy? So the current solution for this is blood control kits. These control kits contain tourniquets, hemostatic gauze, and chest seals, all of which require prior training. People using them wrong can cause injury, limb loss, or even death. And there's been highlights in the Ukraine war right now showing that even when people are trained, when they actually experience a traumatic external hemorrhage, they panic, they put them on incorrectly, and it results in death or injury. So, to replace all of this, I've developed ScotSeal, which is a fully mechanical, intuitive emergency medical device that allows you to step in without prior training or knowledge. It can be operated in only 4 steps in 2 to 4 seconds and allows you to save their life. If you can go to the next slide, Bryce. So these are the 4 steps of operation. So peel seal number 1, place over the wound. Pull number 2, which primes the device. Pull number 3, it's now live, similar to pulling the pin on a grenade, and then simply press down. When you press down, an element within the pod mimics the exact shape and form of the wound, meaning that wherever the rupture or multiple ruptures are within that wound, they're getting direct compression and you're stopping the bleeding at the source. So at the moment, we are finishing development and bench testing. Then I plan on continuing with regulations and then going into cadaver testing later this year. Coming soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. We'll move on now to Jacob from the University of Highlands and Islands.
Hi there, is hearing me okay?
Yep, all good.
Grand, thank you. So yeah, hi, I am Jacob Roberts. I'm a research assistant at the University of the Highlands and Islands, and I work in the Medical Nanotechnology Group under Professor Alistair Keane at the Life Sciences Innovation Centre that you can see pictured here. This is on Inverness campus. So we can move on to the next slide, please. I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the research interests that we have that I think would be relevant to medical device manufacturing. So you can see imaged here on the left and in the middle a couple of our physical vapor deposition systems, or PVD. So these are techniques for creating nanomaterials or thin film devices. Each of these systems is slightly specialized at different types of PVD. The one on the left here, made by a company called Nicolite, can conduct what's called a nanoparticle deposition, where we can create nanomaterials that have small clusters of atoms deposited onto a wide range of substrates. I should say most of the deposition that we do is with metals, primarily noble metals. And in the middle here as well, you can see a system developed by a company called Gencoa. So this is a system that is specialized in what's called reactive deposition, where we can introduce a little bit of chemistry to the process of these nanomaterials. So as well as having your metal of choice thinly layered onto a substrate, you can also have it as a metal oxide or nitride, for example. And just on the right here, you can see a little picture of one of the processes in action. This is a surgical instrument being coated and the lovely blue glow of some plasma there. So we have a few projects on the go. We are looking to develop nanomaterials that have antimicrobial coatings, coatings that will be like inherently antimicrobial without the need for any kind of chemical or energy supplementation. We're also looking at reinforced coatings for surgical instruments that we think will allow them to survive more sterilization cycles, and indeed some reinforced coatings for orthopedic implants that we think will increase their wear resistance. So yeah, if you ever find yourself in Inverness, please feel free to just stop on by if you would like a tour of our laboratories. And if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to email me. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jacob. Trish from the University of Strathclyde, please.
Thank you. I'm Trish Conley, one of the professors in medical engineering, biomedical engineering department at the university, and I just wanted to take you through some of our capabilities. We have a fairly long history of bringing medical products from the lab bench into commercialization. And you can see here we've got how we organise ourselves. So we have a Health and Care Futures Institute, which works with NHS, social care and third sector. We have a health tech cluster, which is industry facing, and a health and wellbeing theme throughout the university. Many researchers and quite a large grant portfolios in excess of 100 million at the moment, which includes all of our researchers and citizens. So if we look at the next slide, please. What I've done here is take some of the stuff that was supported by Strathclyde Institute of Medical Devices through development, and you can see various devices here. In the first photograph, number 1, there's a wound management system, a moisture sensor that can dwell in any dressing. That was CE marked. It's been trialled in the NHS and internationally. Qatar, the Hamad Medical Group in Qatar, funded by the Qatari National Research Fund, actually. Number 2 is actually wearable technology through the skin sensing for diagnostics. That's now with our spin-out Omedics Limited as a hydration sensor, and we've tested things like glucose, lactate, etc. So lots of stuff in the pipeline for that. Number 3 was one of our professors who's still pursuing things outside the university now in retirement, blood salvage technology used by the military, and also number 4, a heart and lung support device, which was also originated in his group. We've had portable eye examination technology, you can see there at number 5, and we've worked in assistive technology. This is just a wee snapshot. So throughout the university, we definitely have, a lot of groups with interest and quite a long history of forming spin-out companies and getting that tech out, a number of spin-outs just now in the medtech sector. I think I'll stop there. Happy to talk to anybody about the kind of things they can do, or if anybody wants to buy any of the products, please send me an email.
Thanks, Trish. Michelle, please, from Heriot-Watt.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and thanks so much for the opportunity to join today. So yes, Michelle Bierkes from Heriot-Watt University. I am one of the business development managers, and my role is directly aligned to our Global Research Institute for Health and Care Technologies. If you don't know Heriot-Watt, we are a Scottish university founded in 1821. We have 5 campuses, 3 in Scotland, and our Dubai campus is 21 years old, and we started in Malaysia 12 years ago. So we do consider ourselves to be a truly global university. Next slide, please. So for our Global Research Institute, or GRI, a little bit around that, easiest way to describe it is that it is a community and platform to support our academics and ecosystem of partners to promote transdisciplinary research that is in response to real world challenges. We're very much about chasing for impact. It's a collective of just over 400 colleagues across professional services and academia. We have a healthy enterprise pipeline with 16 active spinouts, and we are currently working with more than 65 active industry contributors and collaborators. If we look at some collaborative grant funding, we've secured over 6 million, And what the GRI really does is support the ecosystem for health and care technologies at HeritWatt. We work alongside the MDMC and some of the other partners that we have. We host a lot of community events, and we also provide access to some innovative infrastructure and other resources. So some of the events, I've just added 2 to the slide. Last year, we did a large showcase around healthcare innovation. And more recently, 2 weeks ago, we did an innovation conference for our early career researchers. We also have our immersive suite, which is a fully flexible simulation area. It can be made to look like any social care or healthcare setting. And we have everything from prototype testing to some of our spin-outs pitching for VC investment to having our PPIE teams come in and really utilize the space for engagement with citizens and patients. Next slide, please. And then just lastly, a little around the focus areas for our GRI. Based on the core competencies and expertise across our 5 campuses, as well as what we know to be some global health challenges, areas of need, and stated government priorities. We do have 5 main challenge-led themes. Please know that this is not exhaustive. There is a lot going on alongside these themes as well. Probably a good example I could give would be sustainability in healthcare, which is a large focus area for us, and that would obviously tap into a lot of those areas. So we're a very collaborative university. We like to work with our partners in very productive and mutually beneficial ways. I'll pop my email address in the chat, and I'd love to hear from anyone looking to know more about HeritWatt or our Global Research Institute. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Michelle. David, please, from the National Robotarium.
Hello, I'm David Morrison. I'm one of the project managers at the National Robotarium. This is one of HeritWatt's other GRIs. So our focus is really on the adoption of robotics in industry. The UK is the lowest in the G7 for robotic adoption, so our purpose is to try and do something about that. And to do that, we've got a number of different labs available to us. So we have the Robotic Autonomous Systems Lab. That houses test areas for what you would more traditionally think of in terms of robotics, so humanoids, quadrupeds, mobile platforms. We also have a lot of bench stations set up with pedestal arms. So if you're looking at like test sample handling, that kind of thing, we can simulate that sort of thing. The area that's probably of more interest to you guys is the Human Interaction Lab. So this is less about the robots themselves, but more about the collaboration between humans and robots. And how we can use robotics in healthcare and help people live independently for longer or assist with rehabilitation. So we've got quite a few studies that look at things around speech and language and how you engage people and take some of the burden off of nurses and that kind of thing in hospitals. We are looking at how you use robotics for cleaning in hospitals and that kind of thing. And then also there's stuff around rehab. So can you gamify rehabilitation and maybe have some remote systems that would work in the Western Isles, maybe, where you don't have access to physio, but you can have something you could go to in a community centre and use that to do your physio. The building itself is about 450 capacity, and we've got a large atrium area. Actually, the previous slide from the other GRI, one of the events was in our atrium, so we hold lots of exhibitions. And really the way we engage with industry is these 4 parts. So robotics readiness is around the things outside of robotics, so connectivity, how are you going to introduce them, what do you think about before you even think about the solution of robotics? Because we were finding that was typically one of the early barriers for adoption. We can do road mapping, so looking at either a specific process or overall, and figuring out where the best bang for your buck is in terms of adopting robotics. From there, we normally pull out a proof of concept, and that's where we engage our own engineers. We've got a team of 12 engineers that we can use. We'll do a market assessment, and this is where you guys come in, because maybe your solution is a thing that we point the person to, but in most cases there's something we need to adapt. So we'd build a proof of concept, and then the last thing we do is take that proof of concept and try and line up an industry manufacturer who can then help scale and push this out for the customer. So that's really what we do in a nutshell.
Thanks, David. Dan from Data Lab, can we move on to you, please?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for the invite, Bryce. Really appreciate it. So the Data Lab, for those of you that don't know us, we are Scotland's Innovation Centre for Data Science and AI. We are a really collaborative organisation and we try to deliver our objectives in a couple of different ways. So skills is a huge proponent of what we do. We currently train around 100 MSc students a year, with our alumni being sort of 1,100 with the 10-year history that we've got. Our courses are based in 13 of the 14 universities across Scotland, and the courses are existing within the university. We also help the students with an industrial placement that delivers real business solutions over summer, and we also provide executive education and online courses. Moving away from skills, we are, as I mentioned, a very social organisation. So we have a lot of events throughout the calendar, one a month, located around Scotland in different areas. They're put on by our community team, who also run our community platform, which is an online platform that's free to join. Currently has 9,000 members from just about every sector. We are sector agnostic, as our focus is the exploitation of data science and AI for initially Scottish-based organisations, but we are very much open to collaborating across any type of border, and we have a history of doing so. Beyond the community piece and events, we also run our flagship event, which is Data Fest, which is coming up in the 27th and 28th of May. That'll be in Edinburgh in the Assembly Rooms. And then another huge part of what we do is collaborative innovation. So we have a history of bringing together industry partners and academia to deliver solutions that are innovative using data science and AI across a whole host of different sectors. Next slide, please. So just to give you an idea of the impact that we've had across these projects that I've alluded to, we have helped generate an additional 212 million in revenue for the companies that we've worked with. We've helped secure 122 million worth of R&D funding, and we've helped secure over 1,500 jobs. That was a slight exaggeration there. But we've done a number of different projects. I thought there was a couple that were quickly worth touching on for the people that we have on the call. So one of the ones that I think resonates with quite a lot of people that we helped deliver was the AI-assisted endoscopy capsule pill. So rather than having a super invasive procedure, we're able to now send a pill out to people in their home where they can swallow that. Uses AI to sort of gather the information required from inside the person and then send that back to a medical professional that's then able to use that to hopefully make a diagnosis. And also the Cancer Innovation Challenge, where there was a number of different elements to that, but one of them was a collaboration we did with Canon Medical Imaging, which was to use AI to identify cancerous lung lining. I'm very much looking forward to collaborating with anyone on the call that's interested in doing so. My contact details are there. Please feel free to send out my slides. I also need to jump off this call very soon, but looking forward to speaking to people in future and ideally being involved in the webinar after summer. Thanks very much.
Great, thank you, Dan. Jeanette, please, from DHI.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. Hi, everyone. My name's Jeanette Hughes. I'm Director of Planning and Performance from the Digital Health and Care Innovation Centre. Are you getting an echo or?
I'll mute the microphones here, Jeanette.
Thank you, thanks. So sorry, I'll start again. Hi, my name's Jeanette Hughes. I'm Director of Planning and Performance for the Digital Health and Care Innovation Centre. We're Scotland's National Innovation Centre and we've been around for 12 years. Can I have the next slide, Keith? Thank you. We are actually hosted at the University of Strathclyde, but we work with every university and every college in Scotland, and we are a collaboration between Strathclyde and Glasgow School of Art. And the reason that's important is because we bring science and we bring design together to actually co-design the future of health and care. We work with civic organisations, so those similar to Trish's slide are NHS, local authorities, third sector. We deal with all the academic institutions, including colleges, and importantly, we work with citizens. So if companies are looking for access to actually understand the services in Scotland, that is one service that we can provide. We work with businesses, small and large, and you'll see some of the logos at the bottom. We have worked with Ireland in the past, and we actually have 2 EU projects. The one that's closest to Medtech is Health Frontiers, which we're doing in partnership with Ulster University. So some of you might be aware of that project. Our strategic vision and focus for Scottish Government and Scottish Funding Council, who are our big funders, is really to help partners develop innovations that are fit for purpose and actually will slot into NHS or local authorities. One of our key areas is looking at how we drive more innovation out of the hospital, so community settings, remote diagnostics, how do we allow people to live well in their community using telecare, telehealth, and preventative innovations. Can I have the next slide, if that's okay? We offer 3 kind of areas of support. We offer support around technology readiness innovation, and we have a technology team, and we also have a PMO office. We offer services around understanding service innovation, and what I mean by that is if you have an innovation from Ireland or from Scotland, you have to understand how it actually fits into service pathways. So we do a lot of work working with NHS and citizens to understand that better. And the third part is business innovation. If you're a company that is entering Scotland or entering the UK, you need to understand how your product fits in, what is the business model. And just one example of that is a project called ScotCap. Dan actually already touched on it, but DHI actually brought ScotCap into Scotland. So we landed them as an inward investment. We worked with NHS Highland. We commissioned through the company academic evaluations and evidence, and we developed that to a state of readiness that it could be handed over for national scale and adoption. So there's lots of services that we have supported in that way. You'll also see that we have a skills agenda, and that is again like Data Lab, to make sure that we have the right skills for inward investment and we can support our partners. Because we're Scottish Government funded, we understand the demands and priorities. So as Keith said at the beginning, it's very much demand driven. Some of our key priorities that have been highlighted in the left-hand side, and that includes remote and rural communities, which is sometimes ignored. So we actually have an anchored demonstration simulation environment in Glasgow as part of Strathclyde University, but we also have an office in the north of Scotland which deals with rural communities and the demands that rural communities have, especially around remote diagnostics. So if anybody wants to get in touch, I'm going to put my email address in the chat along with DHI's joiner network, and please do come along and chat to us. Keith, I hope that was in time.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeanette. Next up, we have Niamh from BioInnovate Ireland. And Niamh, I have your slides here if you're ready.
I am. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I'll just get these ready. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah, thanks, Keith. So my name is Niamh Connolly. I'm Head of Engagement and Communications here at BioInnovate Ireland. We are based at University of Galway in the west of Ireland, which is part of the Global Medtech Hub in Galway City. So next slide, please, Keith. At BioInnovate, our mission is to be a world-leading innovation hub that educates the next generation of healthcare innovators and entrepreneurs, people like many of the innovators on this call, and who can deliver real impact for patients and healthcare systems. So we sit at the intersection of academia, healthcare and industry, and our role within this ecosystem is to translate unmet clinical needs into commercially viable patient-centered solutions. Next slide, please, Keith. So we have a flagship program that's a 10-month immersive, fully funded fellowship supported by, inspired by Stanford Biodesign, and we are Europe's only affiliate of Stanford Biodesign. So each year we bring together multidisciplinary teams of clinicians, engineers, business experts, and others, and they're embedded within clinical environments to identify unmet clinical needs. They progress through the innovation process from needs identification to concept generation to early stage venture creation. To date, the BioInnovate has led to the creation of 36 startup companies who've had over 550 million investment and technologies that are improving patient care globally. So BioInnovate alumni companies have been responsible for the creation of 1,000 new jobs in the region in the last 6 months alone. So the program hasn't really just created companies, it's fostered a supportive community over the last 15 years. Alumni have gone on to lead innovation within startups, multinationals, healthcare systems across Ireland and globally. So alongside the fellowship, we have our industry training portfolio. So we've developed a suite of programs specifically designed for health tech professionals and organizations who want to strengthen their innovation capability. So this includes a 10-week industry program called our entrepreneurship program, where companies come on site. We have a 3-day strategic innovation program for health tech leaders. We have a Lead with the Need program that introduces innovation thinking, and then we have bespoke on-site training for organizations tailored to their priorities. So what differentiates the programs is that they're grounded in real clinical needs and not just innovation theory. And the programs help shift organizations from technology-led to needs-led innovation, improving not just what they're building and what you're building, but how you make decisions and prioritize investment and ultimately bring new products to market. So in terms of our role within the ecosystem, we're celebrating 15 years this year, and we're acting as that connector between clinicians, industry, researchers, and investors. We see strong alignment between Ireland and Scotland, and we feel like we can help support innovation creation and also workforce development and cross-border collaboration. Happy to take any questions in the chat, and I'll pop my email in there as well. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Niamh. Next up, we have Ono Carvo, please, from UCD. Can you just talk? Oh, thanks, Ono. That's great.
Are you able to share my slide?
I'm just going to bring these up now. Let me know if you can see them.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for the opportunity to talk today. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about University College Dublin and our work in biomedical engineering, and then my group specifically in medical device design. Next slide. So I'm the director of the UCD Centre for Biomedical Engineering, and we've 4 key thematic areas around biomaterials, biomechanics, medical device, and neuroengineering and rehabilitation. So collectively, we're 36 academic principal investigators across engineering, health sciences, and the College of Science. We interact closely with our affiliated teaching hospitals, creating the largest network there in Ireland. And we've a good recent history of spin-out companies, patent awards, and innovation awards in the medtech space. Next slide. So this gives you maybe a flavour of some of the people that are involved. We have a core group in engineering. Probably what's unique about our programs is that we're split evenly between mechanical engineering and electrical and electronic engineering, and then we work closely with colleagues elsewhere, and we have a very strong history of receiving ERC funding, European funding, and then leveraging other national grants. Next slide. So maybe some of the recent developments. we've been hiring new staff. Some of them are in the space in between mechanical and electronic engineering, including hiring staff that are in jointly between the schools. Some recent recruitments in the area of AI and biomedical engineering. And we've been recently kitting out new research laboratories in electrophysiology, robotics and human-computer interaction, motion capture lab, and then we've a planned medical device design lab and biomedical engineering lab that's going to hopefully get built later this year. Next slide. So you might hear from Coram shortly, but we're well connected with different sets of Irish Research Ireland national research areas around medical devices, advanced manufacturing, and also data analytics. Next slide. So then just about my own group, we're focused on medical device design. We've had 3 recent spin-out companies. We're agnostic when it comes to the clinical focus of the group, but we like to follow the biodesign and bioinnovate model of working with clinicians and identifying unmet clinical needs and developing devices to address those needs. We also work closely with a number of medical device companies, some multinationals, on developing new test methods associated with medical devices. So that's it for me. Happy to answer any questions in the chat.
Thanks very much, Owen. Emer from Health Innovation Hub Ireland. Emer, my computer is still refusing WeTransfer files, I'm afraid. So would you be able to share your own presentation?
No problem. I'll try, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. It's just for 3 minutes. So let me just see. How are we?
That's great. Thanks, Emer.
Wonderful. Gosh, that was probably the smoothest transition I've ever had. When it take control of your own slides in a group setting can be dynamite. Okay, so my name is Emer Galvin. I am the manager of Health Innovation Hub Ireland in Dublin. Health Innovation Hub Ireland is a joint government initiative of the Department of Enterprise and the Department of Health. And how we are delivered operationally is we are a partnership of the HSE. So most of you will know, obviously, it's our National Health Service, and then Enterprise Ireland, which is the state agency of the Department of Enterprise. So we are primarily funded to develop, scale and grow Irish health tech startups and SMEs. And when I say health tech, I mean med device, medtech, software as medical device, all of it, okay? It's just a catch-all umbrella term. So we have smaller vendors that are coming to us and individual innovators that are looking to develop their products. And indeed, actually, we have a good follow-on from BioInnovate. I'm so happy to see Niamh there. So at the end of BioInnovate, a lot of those fellows will get a commercialization fund. And they'll come into Health Innovation of Ireland to help them or to support the development of their product. So how we assess products that come to us also is that we measure them against global and domestic health priorities. We have 3 hubs. So I mentioned I'm the Dublin manager, so we're in Galway and we're in Cork. And the Dublin and the Galway hubs are based within secondary care sites. All of the hubs are a mix of Enterprise Ireland funded roles, like myself, and then very uniquely, we have HSE frontline workers that are seconded to us in each of the hubs. So we have clinical nurse managers, clinical pharmacists, clinical engineers, physios that are working with the innovators and the companies that are coming into us. So they're right there in the front line. And then it also means that we have a very unique national network across secondary care sites in Ireland. We work across 3 core areas of the product innovation pipeline. So we have very early stage. We find that a lot of those innovators are from the clinical community. So there are people going into hospitals that see commercializable solutions to problems that they're having, and we will support those people to take it forward. Then we have people who are in mid-development, perhaps of a device. They need to connect with an end user. They need to run an information session, a testing session, before they spend all their money on clinical trials and realize there's no space in the surgery surgical tray for their device. Or it could actually be someone who's really successful in therapy area A as a market, and they want to do some market discovery in therapy area B, and we can facilitate that for them. The final area is where we pilot products. We bring them into live clinical settings. These pilots will be for up to 6 months. Within these, we are looking for pathway. Does it increase access, right, for the patient? Does the product create efficiencies in the clinical workflow? How is it impacting budget and revenue? What's the interoperability? I won't go into it now, but it's a nightmare in Ireland. And then sustainability as well is a real priority for us in the last couple of years. So that brings me neatly over here to our 3 areas of specialization. So the first is Femtech, and that's around women's health. The second is Green Tech in health. So that's those sustainable product alternatives I just mentioned. And then our newest one is, and I didn't name this because it is such a mouthful, HIHIAI. So that is our AI initiative. And then just to finish up, we have 10 years of impact. You know, we're going since 2016. We've got some nice figures there to share that we're very proud of. You know, we've worked with over 2,000 clinical staff. We've delivered 370 projects. Companies have raised over 234 million that have been supported by us. So yeah, we hopefully look forward to another 10 years, but I guess that's up to government funding.
Thanks very much, Emer.
That's me. Am I still sharing? No.
No, that's it gone now. Thank you.
Super.
Do we have Peter Hunt from Irish Manufacturing Research? I can't see his name, or a colleague. No, that's fine. Sorry, Ian, we missed you out beforehand. So if Ian Shaw from Curum is present, we'll go to you, Ian. I'll just bring up your slides here.
Yeah, so good morning, everybody. My name's Ian Shaw. I'm from the Curum, which is the Research Ireland Centre for Medical Devices. We're Ireland's only national research centre which is dedicated entirely to medical devices. We have 11 partner institutes across the entire country, but we're headquartered here in Galway. We have more than 500 researchers and 30 active clinicians engaged in our programmes. And our focus is simple, that discovery isn't enough. The device must reach the patient, and the patient is central to informing the discovery process. So we operate end-to-end from the informed design concepts all the way through prototype development, preclinical and clinical testing, and then on to GMP manufacture. And we have Ireland's only dedicated GMP manufacturing facility here in Galway for stem cell therapies. So Curum operates around 4 research pillars, which underpins everything that we do. We have a soft tissue pillar, such as wound healing, ophthalmics, regenerative scaffolds, a cardiovascular, renal, and metabolic pillar, which looks at stents, tissue ablation, drug delivery, and neuromusculoskeletal, which is neuromodulation, spinal repair, orthopedic implants. And running across all of this is a dedicated translational support team, covering all aspects such as clinical trials, GMP, regulatory science, and health and economics. And you can see from the slide the breadth of the companies that we work with and we have active research projects with in the various clinical pillars, and also the relationship that we have with Ireland's national clinical research facilities, and also more recently with Galway's dedicated Clinical Trials Institute. And really our mission statement says it all. We aim to be a global leader in the creation and translation of clinic-ready and patient-focused medical devices. So could I have the next slide, please? There. So why does Curum matter to the ecosystem, and how do we go about bridging innovation and manufacturing? Well, I just want to give some numbers here, and this shows the scale of how we operate. So we've had initially 120 million euros support from Research Ireland in establishing Curum, and on top of that we have leveraged a further 368 million euros from grant sources. A further 38 million euros has been directly leveraged from industry in terms of cash, and that's proved that companies really put real money behind what we do. And we've generated 50 next generation prototypes, and we have a number of spin-outs. And as Owen mentioned earlier, some of his spin-outs have been involved within Curum over the past few years. And from a scientific excellence point of view, our researchers have been awarded 20 ERC awards, and it places Cura among the world's leading fundamental science centres. So what we really deliver is on 3 strategic priorities. First, we de-risk innovation. We embed regulatory science, biostatistics, clinical trial design, and health economics directly into the research teams and how we work with industry. And the result is that we have had our average industry project value has risen 8-fold over the past 12 years where we've been in existence, and that shows the real faith by industry in doing what we do. Secondly, we feed the pipeline. We have a number of training programs. We've had training programs for the past 10 years, and we're really feeding the next generation of industry-ready researchers. And 52% of our trainees have actually moved directly into industry. And third, we anchor foreign direct investment. So Ireland's Medtech system generates 20 billion in annual exports, and there's projected 56,000 jobs by 2028. And Cura is one of the reasons why companies choose Ireland. And we also have multi-year strategic contracts with a number of the big companies such as Medtronic, J&J, Stryker, B. Brown. And we really do sit at the centre of the global Medtech cluster in the west of Ireland. So really just to end up is to say that Cura is a place where clinical needs can be translated into medical devices. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ian. And finally, but by no means least, we have the Tyndall National Institute. Do we have Craig? Yep, or oh, hi, Craig.
Can you see the screen?
Yep, can see it. Great. Thank you very much.
Perfect. So my name is Craig Landsberg. I'm in the business development team at Tyndall, which is Ireland's National Semiconductor and Deep Tech Research Institute. And really our business model is to collaborate with industry, both multinationals, small companies, Irish, Scottish, wherever you are in the world. Our intention is to collaborate with folks to get new technologies onto the market and also to create talent. So I've just highlighted here with the orange circles some of maybe the key things to spotlight. We're a very diverse organization. We have the strapline which goes that we focus on atoms to systems. So we really do work in areas all the way from materials up to integrated systems. We're fairly large organization by Irish standards anyway. We're about 650 warm bodies on site, most of which would be researchers across a number of different scientific and engineering disciplines. We have about 300 million euros of infrastructure. We were established initially to actually about 42 years ago to support the semiconductor industry in Ireland. So as a consequence, we have a large amount of really deep tech facilities and capabilities. And if I actually flip to the next slide here, you'll see this is just a snapshot of what you see in our foyer. It's one of the 3 clean rooms that we have where we can manufacture semiconductor devices, sensors, MEMS devices, etc., etc. So as I said, we aspire to work with companies wherever they are in the world. I've just highlighted some of the medtech companies here that we've worked with. Obviously, there's many companies we can't talk about due to confidentiality. And maybe this is a bit of a brag slide, but again, we want to be able to work with top innovators in the world, but we also want to get technologies onto the market. Our intention is not to just do research with industry on technologies that go nowhere. You'll see in the top right-hand corner, there's an example of a medtech first in the world, which is a fiducial marker for radiation chemistry treatment. And then finally, a few slides just to try and capture what we have in Tyndall. It's a very complicated organization. As I said, we have a very diverse range of research groups. And I've maybe just picked out a few here just in the next couple of slides to maybe highlight various expertise that relate to medical technologies. So this is a group that develops on-chip nanoelectric chemical sensors. So sensors, for instance, that are used in continuous glucose monitors, very tiny sensors that can detect biomarkers in ISF, saliva, blood, serum. We work on those devices here in Tyndall. But there's a bioelectronics group, as the name suggests. They do devices and electronics for medtech, including flexible electrochemical sensors, microneedles, miniature sensor systems, and you can see some of the examples there that are shown. Wireless sensing systems, these are non-chemical sensors, things like RF, millimeter wave, acoustics, electromagnetics. So an example there is a wearable device for Parkinson's disease symptom management, which we developed in conjunction with AbbVie, the multinational company. Smart inhalers, which we did with Tiva out in Waterford, and some other examples over there. We also, whereas what I described there was microelectronic work, on the other side of the house, we have a deep expertise in photonics-based diagnostics, so you can get a sense there of some of the expertise and capabilities in that bullet list over there. And then finally, we've got a group that does very tiny ICs or ASIC design. These are coming to the fore in implantable devices, sensorizing implants, for instance, powering implants. Very challenging work, and we've got a team that works in that area over there. And then finally, I'll just say that we are expanding. So whereas we at the moment, we're on about 17,000 square meters with about 650 people, we'll be doubling in size in the next 3 years. We're building a greenfield site across from where we are at the moment in Cork in Ireland, and that will allow us to expand substantially and also have greater facilities to accommodate industry who wants to co-locate with Tyndall and work with us on site and have access to all the great facilities that we have. So thanks for the opportunity, and happy to engage with anyone that would like to do so.
That's great. Thank you very much, Craig. And sincere apologies, Owen, from ARC Hub for Health Tech for missing you there, but I will bring your slides up now. Let me know when you can see them, Owen.
See it now. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, compared to everybody else here, we're the supposed baby of the family. We were established, the ARC Hub for Health Tech was established in July of last year. We exist to solve a very specific problem in Ireland's medtech ecosystem. That is, we're great at generating world-class health technologies, but far too many of these never reach the patient. The ARC Hub was established as a national accelerator for translational health research. We're co-funded by the Government of Ireland and the European Union through the ERDF. We're hosted by University of Galway in partnership with Atlantic Technological University and the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. Our mission, it's simple, to systematically turn high-quality health research into real-world, market-ready medtech products and services. So the next slide there, please. In practice, what do? We work at the critical gap between academic research and commercial adoption, the point where many promising technologies fail. We support translational research projects. We currently have 23 translational projects on our books, and we wrap them in an end-to-end innovation framework covering clinical validation, evidence generation, regulatory and reimbursement strategies, product market fit and commercial positioning, and founder and entrepreneurial capability building. Each project is managed through a structured pipeline from unmet clinical need through validation and de-risking and onward to spin-out licensing or progression into national or international funding and accelerator programs. Our focus within Medtech is firmly rooted in real clinical and industry need. Projects span areas such as clinical decision support, implants and wearables, sensors, and AI-enabled health systems. These technologies are clinically anchored, developed in close partnership with clinicians, patients, hospital groups, and industry, ensuring relevance, adoption, and impact from day one. Next slide. So why do we matter to the wider ecosystem? Because we're not a standalone program, we're an innovator or an integrator. We connect universities and medical centres, clinicians and patient pathways, industry partners and investors, national research centres, regional innovation assets, and European funding routes. By doing so, we create a repeatable national pathway for translating publicly funded research into clinical, societal and economic impact. So really, in a sentence, we take Ireland's best technologies out of the lab, through the clinic and into the market faster, more reliably and at scale. And that's it. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thanks for that, Owen. And thank you to all our speakers and attendees in the audience today. I think that's been a fantastic overview of Scottish and Irish stakeholders. As I said at the start, it was very much intended to be an introductory piece. We will be having another webinar post-summer where we drill down a little bit deeper, and I will send more information out on that in due course. In the meantime, Scottish Enterprise and MDMC will be present at the Medtech conference in Galway at the end of this month. So if anybody on the call would be interested in meeting up with us, please do let us know. Aside from that, I'll be reaching out to each of you this afternoon and tomorrow in terms of follow-up. But a very big thank you from me and from Bryce at MDMC, and we look forward to seeing where this leads. Thanks, folks.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Keith.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bryce.
Goodbye.
Thank you all.